Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Some of the viewers wanted me to float an Excel file to compute the longevity of a person. So this how long I am going to live is an eternal question for all of us in this life. And the length of life, can it be computed given an horoscope? Given a horoscope, that's a question that is in fact taken up by the sages. Say Satyacharya's method is based upon Amsayu. Amsayu is the navamsa. Navamsa Ayu based upon the navamsa. And this is applicable when the Lagna is strong. So when the Lagna is strong, you use the Amsayu method. So the computation of which is fairly easy. So what it needs to be done is just find out the navamsa that have progressed for each of the gragas. You take Surya, Chandra, and how long it has progressed in terms of degrees. Then you sum up these degrees. This will be the contribution by the sun. The Navamsa, suppose the Navamsa of say Mercury is this 8th house. That is, it has passed 7 houses and got into the 8th from Aries, say. Then that means it will be 7.27 or something like that. So that would be the contribution of Mercury for the longevity in terms of years for the longevity of the person, and subjected to some correction factors. We'll come to that later. So that way you compute this for all the planets, even including the Lagna also, and then add them up, and that would be your life. That's the method. Now, what are the correction factors? The correction factors, in case the planet is exalted, you multiply by 3. The number that you get here, say for Mars or Mercury, whatever years of contribution that you get, that you multiply by 3 if that planet is exalted. If it's in its own house, you multiply by a 2. Not only in the Rashi, but also in Navamsa, a Drishkona chart, you multiply by 3. If it's Vargotama, you multiply by 2. So these are positive in terms of longevity. Whereas when it is debilitated, it reduces longevity by 50% in its contribution. If it is combust, you don't take into account Venus and Saturn for combustion, then it again reduces by 50% for that graha, the contribution by that graha. And if it is in the visible off is the above the horizon, that is from the 7th house to the 12th house, that those houses are definitely welcome for visibility in terms of your work getting visible in the external world, you being visible in the outer world and all that, but definitely bad for longevity. They reduce longevity. So if it were the 12th house, the longevity is very much reduced. And in case if it's a malefic in the 12th, the total contribution is get wiped out by the planet. The planet's contribution, if Jupiter were in the 12th, whatever it contributes, that gets 0, multiplied by 0. So its contribution totally annuls. Of course, if it's benefic, it is only half. If it is malefic, it is all the more so. If it is Mars, it totally gets wiped out. That way you get these fractions listed out, and that's one portion of the correction. When it is in an enemy's house except for Mars, then the multiplication factor is 2/3. So 2/3 is reduced as a correction factor. So based upon this, I have put an Excel here. So the individual, this calculation is based upon the astrological magazine in March 1984, in page 257 by one Mr. R.A. Padmanabhan. Ayush for strong Lagnas only. So this is a simple calculation. So once a person, I put everything in the database here and pull out a reference number and take the name of the person and all, it gets populated here. The date of birth and everything from the database gets populated here with the latitude, longitude and everything. And you can choose different navamsas. I'm choosing KP straight line. and it always already populates the degrees of the planets, as you have already put in my other videos. Here I get the navamsa degrees and the three degrees, and these three charts are populated. So you know what is the Rasi, ascendant, navamsa, planets, and Trishkoni chart. Now, essentially, as we were seeing in the mind map, the contribution of Surya is the navamsa of Surya. So to get the navamsa of Surya, so you essentially what you do is the degree of Surya you multiply by 3600 to make it seconds. So when that is done, these many seconds is that of Surya. One, see the Navamsa is itself 3000 one ninth for 30 degrees, right? So in seconds it is 12,000 seconds. Therefore, the Navamsa, this second divided by 12,000 is listed here, and the integer portion of this is 53, and that means it has crossed 53 signs. So the basically, if you get the mod of 12, it will tell you how many signs it is away from Aries. So it is actually 5.69 decimal Navamsa. That is, it has already crossed 5 Navamsas, and it is in the 6th Navamsa, and it is 5.6927 is the actual Navamsa value from Aries, and this would be the contribution in years by that planet. So essentially, all these planets we can compute this way, and all planets contribute so many years. You just add them up. So once I clear up all this to start with, and I suppose I calculate basically it is the sum of all the navamsa years with the correction factors as initially 1, since you have not filled up any of these. So this is 5.69, this is 1.96, this is 3, and 1.69, and all that. And ascendant is 9. Now these correction factors initially are taken 1, but that's not right, depending on whether it is exalted or anything later. I mean, this bhavam positions is populated by the Excel itself, since in this case most of the planets are in above the 7th house. Everything except for Jupiter, Rahu, Ketu are not considered. All these planets are above the horizon, so it becomes this colored of it's a visible hemisphere for this particular chart. Only Jupiter is in the invisible hemisphere, so you don't have to do anything on that row. Whereas these rows, I have asked the user to put in whether it is exalted or retrograde. You'll have to punch in all that and then press the Ayush button here. So suppose I arbitrarily choose something. You will have to fill up all that and then press this button here. Then it will correct the Ayush of the person. Uh, Basically, it will populate the correction factors, and once these correction factors are populated properly, once you fill this, then you this Ayush is basically the sum of these Ayush, and this years is basically the multiplication factor of the Navamsa years into the correction factor. So that's how this calculation works. But yeah, the painful thing is you'll have to know if it is Vargottama, if it is debilitated, and choose yes or no here for all the planets. I normally take the for questions like whether it is in own Rashi or own Navamsa or own Dreka, it's straightforward. Vargottama, even if it is placed in Rashi and Drishkona chart, the T3 chart, I take it as Vargottama. Of course, even in the same place at the same location, either in Rashi and Navamsa or Rashi and Drishkona, I take it as Vargottama. I mean, these are subjective again. Maybe you'll have to try out the different possibilities there. Debilitated, that's very clear. I mean, combustion, as such, I don't do the calculation here. I mean, I use Jagannath or some software to find out it is really combust. I mean, degrees are here in case you want to, unless it is very near combustion, I don't do the calculation. I directly see and then answer the questions here. I see Jagannath over and answer here. Lordship benefic or malefic, you can check for this ascendant if Mercury or anything is benefic or malefic. You'll have to populate all this here and just a yes or no. So the entire table is a yes or no here. Just for this, you once you do that, these numbers will get populated after you click here, and the Ayush of the person gets written here. So hopefully this would be useful to you. All the very best. Thank you.